Okay, so I want to tell a quick story and ask a couple questions about a situation that's just taken place here within the last few months. So I live in this apartment complex, and I'm not gonna name where I live or whatever, but I live in this apartment complex, and there's a neighbor of mine who had like just probably moved here. I would say it's getting close to a year now, but um, we had become like super cool or whatever. Would chill outside, talk, meet in the middle of the parking lot, chit chat, whatever. I'd hang out over at his house, have a drink. Nothing like that. It wasn't like that. Hang out at his house, have a little drink here and there, whatever, whatever, right? Well, one day we were talking about a situation where um, I had a good friend or whatever, and come to find out that good friend, which we're about the same age, I'm 44, and this friend is a couple of years older than me. He's 46, and he's ended up dating or not dating, but going to a club and meeting this girl, and she was in her 20s. And I was kind of like, now keep in mind, my daughter is 23. My oldest is 23. And so I was, feeling some type of way. I was like, Now, mind you, my friend, I had been knowing him for, not my neighbor, but my homeboy. I've been knowing him for over 20 years. He's seen my daughter ever since she was 2 years old. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So I kind of stated my opinion and was like, that's kind of weird, knowing that our kids are in their 20s. And at the time, I think his son was like 20 years old, 19, 20. And I was like, you don't want and he has 3 boys. And I said, you don't want your boys to think, and his youngest was the one that was 20 years old. I said, you don't want your kids or your sons to feel like you're in competition. They want to bring their girlfriend over to introduce you, and you're attracted to girls that age. And he was just dead set on, no. That's not the way things are. And my sons don't think like that. And that's not true. And it's not the same thing or whatever. And I was like, and I also was like, plus with my daughter, you've been around her since she was 2, and she's 20 years old. And I would feel kind of weird if I invited you over to like a barbecue or something like that. And she was in college at the time, away at school in Florida. And I was like, she comes home for a holiday or something, and I invite you over. And a lot of her homegirls that she went to high school from, here where we live, I don't want it to be a situation where my daughter is kind of uncomfortable because you're trying to holler at her friends or something. And I was like, it's kind of weird that you would sleep with somebody around our kids' age, especially my daughter's age, And the main reason why I was even talking about it, because he was, after being friends for so long, he was trying to get some play. You know what I'm saying, for me? And I'm just like, I'm a little uncomfortable with that. You coming over to my house. My daughter's around the same age as the girl that you had messed around with. Whatever, blah, 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 right? So I'm talking about it to my neighbor. And I'm like, and my neighbor is probably a couple of years my homeboy senior. You know what I'm saying? And so he's probably like 48, 49 or whatever. And like I said, we was cool. Like every day we was hanging out with each other type of thing. And so we shoot the shit, talk about politics, religion, whatever. And never got offended with each other. And so then I actually said to him, I was like, dang, that was kind of weird how, this kind of took place. Now, mind you, my neighbor has a daughter and a son. And he hasn't been, in his kid's life for, a decade or whatever the case may be, blah, 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 because of, other reasons. And so, but he has a daughter around the same age. And I was like, what would you think about that? And he was like, I said, I think that's kind of, it's giving me, pedo, kind of thing. And so I was like, it's just kind of weird to me. It just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know why, but it just does. So then he made the statement to me, are you trying to tell me that any man in this world, I don't know, now this is how my neighbor came at me, like just like this. Like he took it personal, like he was just messing with somebody at that age. And he was like, do you not, and this one did. You trying to tell me that there's men out here in this world, not one man out here in this world that wouldn't see a 20-year-old girl walking past or see a female walking past or whatever, wouldn't be attracted to her. And I said, that's not what I said. We have eyes and we are attracted to people. You know what I'm saying? Now, am I attracted to children my daughter's age? They look like babies to me. And mind you, I've raised some family members, you know what I'm saying, they're younger, and they're just now hitting 30. My daughter is 23. I've been hit on by people that's around that age or whatever, but it's just not my stilo. You know what I'm saying? And for many reasons, because I raised a girl and I don't want my daughter to think we're in competition. If I'm dating somebody around her age, you know what I'm saying? She'd be kind of weirded out, like, mama, like, when do we start dating the same kind of people? You know what I mean? And what will me and this man have to talk about? I don't care if he's mature. I don't care if he's smart. I don't care if he's funny. I don't care if any of that. He's still not in the same age group as I'm in. So out of all of that, what he's lacking is the experience that I have of life. He could have went through a million things, but he's lacking the experience coming from age, period. I don't care about that. I don't care what nobody say. So my neighbor was like, any man that walk past, yada, 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 and they see a girl, you know, a woman walking past or whatever, they're going to be attracted. Naturally, they would be. I said, but when she walks up to you and realize she's only 20 years old or 21 or 22 or 23 years old, do you continue the conversation with her? I said, that's where I'm trying to see where your head's at. Seeing her walking past you is one thing. Trying to engage in conversation is a whole nother beast. So he was like, I would date somebody in the 20s. I said, well, you know what? And because he was getting so angry and upset, I was like, that's understandable. You didn't raise your daughter. So you wouldn't see a child from flat-chested to getting nubs and pencil nubs and eraser bits, you know, before, you know, there's boobs. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, he flipped out on me and was like, don't ever add my daughter into this, and don't say this and don't say that and this and that and this and that. I would never... don't put my daughter. I said, I didn't put your daughter in it. I said, the reason why you have such an absent mind frame is because you weren't a part of the raising of your child. You didn't see her growing up and have her friends come over to the house and, you know, eat breakfast and cereal and weekends at the house and this, that, and the third. So naturally, you're not going to understand where I'm coming from. Me, I raised my daughter, and I have another daughter who, like I said, she's 15 years old. So my mind frame is totally different. So I'm just curious. Am I wrong for feeling the way that I'm feeling? Or, you know, I get it. There's cougars out here in this world. I understand that there's mountain lions, there's cougars. I don't care about all that. I'm saying in the mind frame of you're in your 20s and a man, and you have a daughter in their 20s. Why would you even feel comfortable, or a son in their 20s? Why would you feel comfortable mixing the two worlds? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just asking, am I wrong for my mind frame? Because I still feel strongly. Now, when I see my neighbor, because we fell out after that. I ain't really mess with him too much after that. Just because of how he came at me. Not because of how he feels. He feels the way he feels. And, you know, it is what it is. He came at me on some real shicey stuff. And so I'm just like, So now we'll say our highs and buys or whatever. But I don't go over there. I don't hang out. He don't come over here. He don't hang out. We don't really too much talk to each other. We see each other as kind of one of those, you know, kind of things. And keep it pushing. So I'm just wondering, there is no right or wrong in the situation, but am I in a different mind frame? Am I fucked up for my thinking or what? So I'm just asking, you know, men, women, it doesn't matter. Now I'm asking a person in their 40s about a young girl or a young boy in their 20s, if you have children that age, and if you do not, where is your mind frame? And I've asked other men this, like, would you? And they're like, no, especially men with daughters. No, you know what I mean? And so my homie still defends his action like, that's not the same as dating your daughter. That's not the same as this and that. Yes, it is. Like, you literally is sleeping with somebody at my daughter's age. It's kind of giving me creepo vibes. What do y'all think?